Okay, so let's see what are the different sort of. So here is kind of a like what are the core skills that you require as a product manager. So if you look at the top of the pyramid is communication. So basically what this blue box is like, which is the job role currently, which which matches to this particular skill set maximum maximum value. So for example, communication. So who are the best communicators in the world? Mostly the marketeers, because they are communicating to users through design, and that is something. So basically, if you look at communication, this is the most important job of a product manager. So a product manager needs to understand a complex problem and make it very easy for his consumers and also for his internal stakeholders. So if you look at, so I think 40 or 50% of product management boils down to good communication. If you don't have the skill, it's very difficult to become a product manager. But you need to access whether you have good writing or like skills in which you can simply communicate to people even without talking to them. So that is very important. The other part of it is a certain other pieces of soft skills, and there are three. One is like high ownership levels. So basically, a product managers are given certain roadmaps and certain directions which they have to develop over the course of a year or a half. It takes time to develop that, and you need very high motivational and ownership levels so that you can keep yourself as well as your team motivated. So that becomes very important. So if you look at, if you're a startup co-founder, that is something that's very natural because you have run your own startup, you have that particular level of detail. Then the next part of it is stakeholder management. So one of the most important, another important skill set that you have in terms of soft skills that you need is stakeholder management. And this basically becomes a product manager will work with a variety of people, engineers, designers, researchers, data analysts, and business managers. Now, what is very important is to make sure that all these stakeholders follow you, as the like the vision is yours, and you need all these people to follow that particular vision, and so that they are aligned all the times. And this is something that you will learn excessively if you work in bigger companies like Swiggy, or for that matter Ola or Flipkart, where you have multiple stakeholders. So this is something that you need to figure out, that is this, and this is one of the most important skills. Now the last part in the soft skill is not something that is typically there before becoming a product manager. It is something that is developed as a product manager, which is basically product vision and sense. So can you think of the future, and can you figure out what type of products need to be built? So this is something, this is more of an instinct which gets developed as you make more product. If you don't have this thing, it's still fine. The thing is, this could be developed when you do your product management in the right ways. Now if you look at these three, and then there are basically five other key stakeholders that you work with, which are also skills that you require at some level or the other, depending upon the type of. So if I talk about these four: communication, ownership, vision, and stakeholder management, this is required in all product management jobs. Now the next five is dependent upon the type of product manager you are. So let's say, I mean, you are a data analyst, so you need data driven decision making. So the PM needs to understand data to be a centric point in making a decision. And the second thing is obviously engineering, because this is where you spend maximum of your time with. The next part becomes design, like you will work, and depending upon the product, this involvement could be high or low. And that is something that you need to have basic understanding of. And one of the other thing is basically user research also. So how to make a product, what product to make, validating your idea, these are things that are done by user research. If you look at user research, typically I would say there are specific researchers who work in companies like Nielsen, who do research for particular surveys. These guys are good suited to become product managers if that's a focus area. And the other way, I would say salespersons are very good researchers, because they understand their consumers end to end. They know what will sell. And especially for a B2B company, this becomes very, very important of a skill set to have. And the last part of it is business strategy. So you need to have that particular strategy, and you need to understand the overall business. This is where MBAs and consultants are typically very good, So basically, if you look at product management, it's basically a combination of all these different type of skills, and depending upon the job, the skills are basically could be increased or decreased depending upon the job.